nap.
Cool.
It's almost
You
about
start the
that
clock
time.
this time? You start the
Oh
clock?
damn! I keep forgetting, bro. God damn.
It'll never
Damn.
start. I'm gonna have to get you a Marvin Lewis to help you with the clock situation, bro.
Marvin Lewis. Hey, bro.
Headset.
I need a whole team, man. I'll be honest with you.
Man.
I need a whole team.
And Marvin
You're right
Lewis,
about that.
Matt Sheldon. You feel me?
Tom Coughlin.
Exactly.
Tom Coughlin.
Joe
How do you
Philbin.
think those conversations are going, man? Tom Coughlin is hella old, bro. That dude
He
is
is,
like,
he is.
Bro,
I
he's
think
103. You didn't know?
he is old.
103.
I wonder what the conversations.
He's seen some shit.
Yeah, no,
Man.
for real. Yeah.
Now,
I
Tom
wonder-
Coughlin
I
knows
wonder
his
how
stuff,
the
though, bro.
You said what?
He knows his stuff.
Oh no,
Oh, yeah.
facts. That's. But I wonder
How
how
the
the conversation goes
conversation
with AP and Coughlin though. That'd be like a funny ass conversation to listen in on. I don't know why.
It's hilarious. Probably hilarious because he used to coach him, so he probably still talking to him like he's his player, low key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget to clock in, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Here we go.
Great Pharaoh, the gift of Troy is a fabulous fabric from the land of the 5 rivers.
EP20, 35, 40, midfield, McMahon breaks a tackle, he's gone! 10, 5, touchdown! Raiders!
2 years ago, when we came to Los Angeles, I really believed that the greatness of the Raiders would be in its future.
They just shot a few of my ships down. It's safe to say I'm totally pissed. Wow. My cloaking devices just malfunction. Guess it's time for a sit down. This is the problem I got with humans, mostly the common man. Constantly fucking with energy they don't understand. Always thinking they got the upper hand. The G-forces from my maneuvers can snap your spine like a rubber band. I shouldn't waste my time, they ain't half as nice. Put a Red Bull in your coffin so your ghost can have wings in the afterlife. That's rock and roll like a belly dancer's rhinestone. It was my idea to shake the pineal gland like a pine cone. My thoughts create hurricanes, tornadoes, and cyclones. A punch for me is like an avalanche of granite and limestone. You live here, but now this is my home. I neuralize both your retinas. You wake up staring at the screen of your iPhone. Confused by the light plus the high tone. And now we connected from the microchip I placed next to your thigh bone. It's hard to understand cause you're mind blown, but I gotta cut communication. Your government just scramble they spy drones.
That voice is speaking Sumerian, the oldest language in human history. I can't explain it.
What's going on? What's going on? We back. We are back. We are back, but with a special guest, man. We got Raiders Smoke filling in this week, man. Appreciate him coming through, man. We're gonna have a good show today, good conversation. How's everybody doing, man? How's it going, Smoke?
Blessed, brother, blessed. Ready for Sunday, man.
Man, you ain't never lied, man. Hey, look, usually after like a couple of days, I'm like, all right, let's play this game, bro. Like, let's get to it. But you know, they got to get through practice, and you know, obviously, you know, we're gonna get into like the injury report today, and we're gonna talk about that Panthers game and figure out how the Raiders are gonna win the game. I know a lot of people are like penciling this W, like Smoke. We spoke about this. You know, last Sunday when we did a post game, you can't really pencil in wins in the NFL at the end of the day. Like any given Sunday is a real thing. So that being said, let's actually hold on. Let me pull this up real quick so we can get into it, man. Let's talk about it, bro. Panthers this weekend on Sunday, the official home opener. The official home. We all know that LA game was like the home opener, but you know, it is what it is. But the Raiders are back in Las Vegas after playing 2, you know, road games. But I think this is a winnable game. You know, this is definitely a winnable game. The Panthers are kind of going through a quarterback change, which could possibly set up a trap game too, because you know, Andy Dalton is 4-0. And I think, Smoke, you mentioned this before. Andy Dalton is 4-0 against the Raiders, and I don't like that. I don't like weird stats like that. And even I think Severe as well. I think I seen something where it made a whole lot of sense where, you know, where when this team has expectations, they begin to, you know, I don't know what it is. Maybe that might have been the Raider teams of the past where we had expectations. And then for some reason, they don't live up to the expectations. But like, Severe, can you speak to how big a game this is, even though it's just the Panthers?
Yeah, man. I mean, as you alluded to, man, I have a video on my channel talking about, you know, the Raiders' biggest weakness, and in my opinion, the Raiders' biggest weakness is, you know, expectations. Anytime they're expected to do something, they go into a game and they're expected to win. They play down to the level of their competition, and they snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Mm-hmm. We've seen it time and time again, right? We saw it last year, you know, some people, you know, AP's the guy now, and well, you know, low key game 1, right? If you want to just go to game 1, that was a game that most people expected us to win. Yeah. Especially people within Raider Nation, right? And we didn't win that game. Look at last year, you know, we can talk about the Colts game where the dude comes off the ESPN set and beats us. Talk about the Rams game where Baker, you know, gets signed that Thursday and comes out and beats us on a Sunday. Talk about the Bears game, you know, with Josh McDaniels, and we can talk about that Minnesota game coming off the bye week. We can talk about that Colts game, like several instances where we lose games that most people think we should win. So I think this is going to set the precedent of what this season is. Are we a team that, you know, no matter who's in front of us, we execute at the highest level, or we're going to be that team that plays down to the level of our competition. And, it's going to be a roller coaster ride all season long. And depending on who our opponent is, there's going to be a different Raider team.
Nah, facts. Well, 100%, man. I think usually that first 4 or 5 games tells you a lot about this team. It tells you how the season's going to go, to be honest with you. So we're still within those first few games of the season. Obviously, it's the third game of the season against the Panthers. I mean, you smoke. Like, what are you expecting from the Raiders this weekend? How do you think they're going to attack this team on Sunday?
Like Severe said, man. I mean, like I said last Sunday, like, I'm hopeful in AP being the coach and having these guys ready to play and not playing down to the competition. But it scares me, man. It scares me. I've seen a lot of Raider football over the years, and like we get a big win when we're underdogs, we end up, laying an egg.
Yeah.
So this Sunday, I'm hopeful that these guys will be ready to play. Especially with AP under the helm. Like, we had a bad loss with the Chargers, and then you see how we bounced back at in Baltimore. So I feel like it's different this year. I feel like with AP and these guys rallying around him, like it's a real thing. I think he's got these guys playing, man, like collectively as a unit. The morale's up. You see guys on the sidelines, high-fiving and just the energy, in the building is just different. You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I feel like we should be able to handle business. Whether Andy Dalton's 4-0 against us or not, like that don't matter. Like AP said, we got to worry about us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't worry about the other team. We got to
Right.
handle what we got to handle, and that starts by running the rock and getting these own linemen, ready to play on Sunday, man.
Right. 100%. I agree with that last part, especially as far as running the football, because that's been an issue the first couple of games of the season is something that you felt like the Raiders on offense were going to rely on, especially with, like I said before, our quarterback situation is not the best. It's not like we have the best quarterback out there that we can expect to drop back 40 times each game and we come on the winning side of that. Maybe here and there we can do that, but I don't think we can do that consistently and win. Like we have Patrick Mahomes back there, As much as I don't like Patrick Mahomes, I respect him because he's the best quarterback in the NFL. But we don't have that, but that doesn't mean that the Raiders can't win. It just means that we got to establish certain things on offense, and I feel like that run game is going to be huge, especially this week because I think this would be a great week to get back on track because the Panthers are the worst team against the run in the NFL. They're 31st, 32nd in the league stopping the run, and the Raiders too, on defense, I think they need to clean it up too this week as far as stopping the run because I seen that they're averaging they're allowing 6.1 yards per carry, which that needs to stop. We got to get that under control. But as far as offensively, the Raiders need to get that run game going. It'll be a great week to get that going, and we might see Jackson Powers-Johnson this week.
Sir, I was just about to say that.
Yeah, he might make an appearance. It sounds like he's heading towards making an appearance, and I think it would be a great time for him to come in against a team that's struggling against stop and run. And I think this week I feel like when the Raiders were able to get some success running the football with Zamir, I felt like they were running some power gap schemes with Zamir instead of that zone, which he's kind of still trying to figure out a little bit. So if we're able to like mix that up a little bit this Sunday, I feel like we possibly can get some good running out of Zamir White, and obviously, Madison. I think he's more accustomed to play that zone scheme, but I think Zamir especially, I feel like we got to get him going because if we can get this run game going, I think it makes our offense even more dangerous because as much as we are not as excited as we are about that quarterback situation, we also got to give Minshew some props. Offensive 100%. Line has been terrible first couple of games. We haven't had a run game, and Minshew has found ways to be productive. I mean, he's number 2 in the NFL right now in passing yards. So if we can establish the run on top of the weapons that we have right now, I think I mean, if you're looking, if you're looking at it a glass half full, I think the offense could really light up some teams. I mean, Severe, can you speak to that? I mean, if we can get that run game going, don't you think that the offense right now can put some points on the board?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you always want to have a balanced attack, right? You always want to be able to, hey, if I need to run the ball, I can run the ball. And what running the ball does, first off, shout out to my guy Mel Kiper Jr. But it makes teams put an extra guy in the box, right? It makes it so they have to like there's one less guy that's deep in coverage. They aren't playing, and I think Gardner kind of spoke to that after game one, where he says like they're putting the hood on everything, and basically they're just having guys deep. So they kind of clog all that. I mean, they keep you from completing those deep passes. They keep kind of everything underneath. And if they can play, they can play deeper in their zones, they're not really worried about the run. And what that also does is that, if you can run the ball, that allows you to start running some play action. And, anytime you can make those linebackers or those safeties hesitate for a split second, or, make those guys take a step in the wrong direction, and then you can kind of beat them over the top. So ideally, this is the game. If any game was going to be the game, this is the game to get the running attack going. I don't think it's, as AP alluded to, I don't think it's necessarily our backs. We talk about Alexander Madison being a better zone runner. Last game, he had 4 carries for 1 yard. So it's like, is it really the backs, or is it the scheme, or is it the guy that's supposed to be blocking it up? And just from looking at the film, it's definitely the offensive line.
You don't think it's a combination of everything? Like,
it's like 85% offensive line, like 15% back, like even when I'm looking at, other people, I'm looking at people criticize, and they're like, oh, if the guy would have made this cutback, well, I'm like, look, there's a linebacker right here. He's reading this hole. And there's another guy coming from the weak side. Well, if he took the wrong lane right here. Well, you know what? Actually, this D tackle was like 2 gapping, so he's covering both gaps, and then he easily sheds his blocker, and he makes the tackle when he chooses this hole. So if he would have went the other way, he would have just did the same thing in the opposite direction. So they come up with these excuses to criticize the back, but like under any type of scrutiny, they don't really hold any water. And it goes the same for whether it's Madison who's in there, he's not finding any daylight, and Zamir is not finding any daylight as well.
Yeah, and Colt Miller has struggled to begin the season. Thayer Munford has been hit or miss, but the majority of offensive line, it feels like they're more of a fit for a zone scheme. But do you think running a power gap scheme and changing it up will simplify things for them? And at least, like, you know what, let's get the ball rolling, let's get Zamir going. You think that'd be the right move, even though? Because do you feel like what I'm trying to say is, do you think a lot of the mistakes that's happening, or a lot of the issues on the offensive line, is just a matter of chemistry and not having the guys, all 5 of the best offensive line out there so far this season?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a problem. But even if you go back to a gap scheme, right? If you go back to a power scheme, you're still. Jackson Power Johnson is a new guy. Parham's playing on the new side. Thayer Munford he's a new starter. So you still run into those same chemistry and cohesion issues, right? Like the offensive line, as much as any other unit, in all of football, it's all about communication, trust, right? Those guys have to be able to communicate with each other. If I got to pass off this blocker to you on this stunt, if if I got to pull this way, you got to cover me. Like I have to trust that you're going to do your job so I can do my job. I have to trust that, if the center is making the protection calls, that he's going to make the right protection calls to make sure everything is blocked up. If we're seeing a blitz, hey, can he read the mic? Can he do all these things? Like there's a certain level of trust that has to be there. And just changing the scheme is not going to, elevate that trust.
Yeah, and if you're looking, well, like I said, like the Panthers it's a great week to get a lot of things going this week as far as offensively running the football, even offensive line. Like Carolina Panthers right now. I think they lost Derek Brown for the season, which is probably their best defensive lineman, best player on the team, best everything, and it shows because they're like, I think, at the bottom of the league in pressure percentage, so they're not getting to the quarterback. So you would think, all right, a team like that, they're coming in struggling, but sometimes with a quarterback change, it could easily, like energize the team a little bit, just because now the team, because look, let's be honest, earlier in the week, I was talking about Bryce Young possibly coming to the Raiders, and I'm like, hey, this is a young talent, former first round pick. I think the Panthers did a terrible job in developing him so far because they had so much change going around and firing head coaches and firing different play callers, but at the end of the day, he wasn't playing well. So a guy like Andy Dalton comes in, a veteran. I think the team is going to be like, hey, look, this guy is definitely going to be playing better than Bryce Young. So wouldn't you think that the team is going to start playing well as a team? They're going to play well because if Bryce Young is out there and he's playing bad, don't you think that kind of like it affects the players and how well they play? I know they're professionals. They got to go out there, but I think to a certain extent, like mentally, if they know someone is not supposed to be out there and they're out there just because of their draft status and they're not playing well, it kind of affects the performance of the other players. Do you think that like Dalton will have that ability to lift his team up a little bit and makes this game a little bit more competitive than what a lot of people think it's going to be?
Yeah, 100%. I think Andy Dalton's a proven vet, man. He's been there, he's done that. You know what I mean? He's won in this league, with the Bengals and where he's played at, man. Like, I think the guys, they feel more comfortable with him under center. I mean, at this point, they've been with Bryce Young for a little over a year, and like it hasn't been looking good. You know what I mean? So it's almost like that effect of like an interim coach. Interim coach comes in and like gets kind of the new gets a new feel around the team. And the guys rally around him and stuff like that. I think that's the same thing with the quarterback. Especially a proven vet like that. Who's been in the league, who's won. That's why I said, like, man, it's Raiders got to come out. They got to start strong, man, and they can't overlook the Panthers, man, because Dalton he's been known to sling that football around, man, and they got to be on toes, man, and put them away early. Establish the run game early, put them away early. Don't even if it's a close game going into the fourth quarter, man, that's not good.
Yeah,
you don't want to give them a chance. You just gotta once kickoff starts, man, you gotta all gas no brakes.
Yeah, no, I agree. You definitely got to put them away early because I think not just the team as a whole. I think that offense, like the receivers, because they've been hearing all the talk about like, oh, the Panthers, they did Bryce Young wrong. They should have never benched him. He doesn't have any weapons. Adam Thielen is like 100 years old. Like, what is he? So every guy on offense has been hearing all that. I'm sure they're going to be motivated to play well this Sunday. Be like, oh, you think it's us and not Bryce Young not playing well? I think that's the narrative that's going around, and I don't think they like that. I think they think that the players. I think we lost Severe, but I think the narrative right now is that it was. Hold on, let me get Severe back here. All right, we got Severe back. But I think the narrative is that Bryce Young doesn't have a lot of help around him, and that's why he struggled. But he had Adam Thielen on offense. Deontay Johnson is not a bad player. I don't understand like why people are overlooking him and making it seem like he's a bad player. I know they drafted a first round wide receiver, but he still might be developing. We'll see how he looks on Sunday. But I think a lot of those guys on offense, they're going to be looking to prove everybody wrong too as well. So that's why it kind of makes this game a little bit more interesting, especially because they had to make the change this week, and they part of the other side to it is, look, they see what the Raiders D line is doing. They see Max Crosby going crazy. I mean, he's literally getting 2 sacks. I think did he have 2 sacks in the opener? I know he had one, at least one. Okay, so he's had a sack every game. They see the Raiders D line wrecking havoc. They're like, you know what? Let's protect this 5'10" quarterback, and let's get a veteran out there. But it is what it is, man. I think I think I think you guys make valid points about it possibly being a trap game. We can't overlook them. Let's take a look at the injury report real quick, just so we can see what it's looking like before that we head into this game. See, we'll go ahead and share the screen. All right, so this is Carolina Panthers, but look, let's start at the top. So Max Crosby looked like he had an ankle issue, limited practice. I think this is precautionary reason. Devon Diablo did not practice Wednesday, Thursday, and probably most likely when we're watching this, probably he's not going to be practicing on Friday. So there might be a new starter this week. Any guesses to who could possibly take his spot? I think I have a good idea, but who do you think is going to take that spot?
do not get me started.
It's
gonna be Luke Masterson. That's who played last. I mean, and I made the assumption that if Diablo didn't play, I thought they'd want a similar player. So I thought it'd be Amari Burney, and I but they trust Luke Masterson more. So that's what they end up going with. But you know what? With the full week of practice, let's see if they make that same calculation. I'm assuming it's gonna be Masterson, but there's a possibility we see some Amari Burney. Probably doesn't start, but I think he will. He will see some snaps, maybe even some Amari Gainer.
Yeah, I agree. That's what it's been like in the past. Like Masterson's he's been that first linebacker off the bench, but they got 7 linebackers to choose from, so it might be. So we might see Eichenberg, who he's on the injury report. He fully practiced on Thursday, and I'm sure he's probably heading to playing this Sunday. So he might get some snaps. They might find a way to get him on the field and see what that looks like. We all know that's Severe's favorite linebacker, man. Like out of Ohio State,
special teams.
Yeah, Eichenberg got a whole bunch of cardio on Sunday. Their fool was running up and down on kickoffs, not making a single tackle.
Cole Miller. I don't know how good this is. He's on the injury report with his shoulder. Hopefully it's not the surgery, the one he had a surgery over the offseason, which pretty much like he missed all of offseason because of that shoulder surgery. He was limited this week, but I think he's most likely going to play. DeCameron Richardson, he's been out. And I hate these types of injuries right here. When you see hamstring
soft tissue issues, those things are tough to heal.
Yeah, man, they just never go away, man. Shout out Darren Waller, man. I think that was one of the big things about him. Like he always kept getting them hamstring injuries. It'd be annoying, but Tyree Wilson, he's back. He practiced limited this week.
Who?
your favorite player on the team, Smoke. Hey, man, hopefully Tyree gets the chance to play this week and he makes some plays, man. I think a lot of people kind of are, down on him, but hopefully he makes some plays this week. Wilkins also limited this week, but I feel like I think this is they just got done playing a physical game against the Ravens. So a lot of these guys, they probably took it easy this week as far as probably didn't go too hard after a physical game like that, which, it is what it is. Parham, Chris Smith, you got Chris Smith on here, and then Janarius Robinson. So pretty much for the most part, a lot of these guys we're going to see on Sunday, I believe. Devon Diablo, I think, is going to be the guy that's going to be missing on Sunday.
Yeah, especially it says concussion. He's definitely. Yeah, it's definitely not playing with concussion. I don't think he's coming back after 1 week.
Yeah, and usually that Friday practice, that's the big one that you want to make before the game, and I just think that he's probably most likely gonna miss that practice, which is the final practice for the game.
If you're a DNP on Thursday, you usually don't go from DNP to practicing that Friday, so it's not a good look.
Yeah. But looking at the Panthers, Ashawn Robinson. Limited practice. A lot of the guys here, Clowney almost did not practice, but I think a lot of it was just rest. He fully practiced on Thursday. So now the Panthers, though, they do have a solid O-line. That's one thing. They do have a solid O-line. So that's one thing that if we're going into it thinking that it's going to be easy W, they do have a solid O-line. If they can protect Andy Dalton, give him some time, which, I hope that doesn't happen. But look, Robert Hunt, that was like one of their big free agent acquisitions over the offseason. He's healthy. So for the most part, a lot of these guys are going to play. Taylor Moton did not practice. So we'll keep an eye on that. I think that's their starting tackle right there. So we'll pay attention to that as well. But for the most part, I think a lot of these guys are going to play, except for their D tackle right here, Tuttle, and Taylor Moton. They're starting tackles. So that's actually something to keep an eye on too, because hey, the starting tackle is going down. That means someone's going to eat, man. And I think it might be Tyree Wilson.
Max. Let's go.
No, it's definitely going to be Max. It's definitely going to be Max. No, for sure. But yeah, that wraps up the injury report. We just wanted to take a look at it, and let's get into the keys of the game. Let's talk about the keys of the game, man. What's keys to victory? Smoke. Let us know, man. Let the people know what's. Give us like one key to victory.
Raider Nation showing up in Allegiant. Please, man. Yeah, AP's been harping on that. He's been harping on that.
Yeah.
And they've been talking about that for a minute. Like, we gotta really, black out the stadium, man. Like, I'm tired of these. I'm tired of watching on TV and seeing all these other fans, from out of town show up, and it's just, man, it's nasty work. Man. But but for real, I think I would say the key is the run game, man. Is the run game. Just time of possession, putting them away early, man. I think it's gonna be the run game.
Okay. All right. I get you. Severe, what would you say is a key to victory?
I would say defense. Defense. Pretty much, like we're hearing a lot of hype about Andy Dalton, and we're giving them some false hope. But I think if we come out early, we hit them in the mouth like for the first few drives. That kind of dashes all those hopes, right? Like people are thinking like Andy. We see the line moved, right? I think the line was at 7.5 and moved down to 5.5. Like that's a huge jump. That's good. That's like from going to like if they win by a touchdown, like you get your money, or if they don't, if now they have to win by by more than a touchdown, you collect on that bet. Like 2 full points is crazy just off one player. So the fact that they're putting that much stock in Andy Dalton, we can show them early on like things ain't gonna be no different. I don't care if you got Andy Dalton back there. I don't care if you put Andy Griffiths back there, bro. You're not about to move this ball on us, right? So you can take that back to Mayberry. You feel me? So they just gotta. They gotta. So I think defensively, that's been the strength of our team. Whether that be week 1, I think that's gonna continue to be the strength of our team. In week 2 it continued. I think it's going to continue to be the strength of our team this week as well. So and especially if we can get some takeaways, that's something I know that Patrick Graham talked about in his press conference today. I think somebody used the term turnover, and he said no, we talk about takeaways, and that's like the defense forcing. Basically imposing their will on the other team and taking the ball away from, whether that be through forced fumbles or through interceptions. So defensively, I think defense leads the way. Max Crosby, we talk about all the time. He's basically the face of the franchise. He's the guy who, we want basically our culture to be modeled after. So I think they're going to set the precedent, especially if that right tackle doesn't play. And that's generally the side that Max Crosby is lined up on anyway. So he can be in for a pretty big game.
No, I agree with both of y'all, man. Establishing that run game, I agree with Smoke. Obviously, with Antonio Pierce pretty much calling out the offensive line earlier this week, to the point where the Raiders media team had to cut that out off of the video, because I think he literally was pretty direct. He was like, "Hey, like it ain't Zamir, it's the offensive line," and I think they're gonna make it a point to get that run game going. It's a perfect week, like we said early in the show. Like it's a perfect week to get this run game going with, the Carolina Panthers being one of the worst teams against the run, and obviously Severe speaking to the defense, because that's how you take a team out, is go out there and you dominate and don't give them any hope. But another thing for me, another key is to play a clean game. Do not turn the ball over. Don't be that team that gets overly penalized, because once you start playing that sloppy type of game, you're giving that other team that you should be taking care of and winning easily a chance to be in this game. And we've seen that before in the past where we're like, hey, this just speaking to Severe's point about, not playing up to expectations. Part of when we're watching those types of games, it's because sometimes we're playing sloppy, we're turning the ball over, we're making a lot of mistakes. Just think about that first game against the Chargers. That was a game full of mistakes. So if we can go back home, hopefully the stadium is going to be blacked out. We play a clean game. Defense dominates. We get the run game going. Easy win. It's in the bag. Just like that, man. So I agree with y'all, man. And that's pretty much the keys to the game. Hey, let us know in the chat too as well. Like, hey, what do y'all feel like we didn't touch on as far as, how the Raiders can attack and beat this team. Hey, it's any given Sunday. At the end of the day, we can't. In my eyes, it's any given Sunday, because last week going into against the Ravens, a lot of people was doubting the Raiders going into the Ravens game. They thought it was going to be a blowout. They thought it was going to be a loss. I ain't gonna say no names. You know what I mean? But but look, at the end of the day, the Raiders were able to win any given Sunday, and we can't take a team like the Panthers lightly. And hopefully they'll take care of business. Make sure to let us know in the chat too as well, like what y'all think. Is there any other keys to the game that we're missing? And as well as that, make sure to clock in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff, man. This is going to be showing up on all our channels, so make sure to tune in and hit that like button. That being said, let's move it along, man. Let's move it along, man. It's that time around the nation, man. So this is where we talk about what is Raider Nation talking about this week. Usually, we'll look at the comments, and obviously we'll do that. So make sure to leave a comment after the video, and your comment will be featured on the show. But this week we wanted to actually talk about what the main conversation this week has been happening, especially with the offense specifically. But Brock Bowers, everybody's been talking about Brock Bowers. Everybody's been talking about how great a player he is early on. Obviously, he's on a historic rookie start at that tight end position. I think he's had the most catches and yards, I believe, in NFL history for an NFL rookie tight end. But he also leads that category, not with rookie tight ends or receivers, but actually at that position. So I think he has 15 catches, over 200-something yards, I believe. But that being said, earlier this week, Gronkowski and Davante Adams had a chance to talk about the impact of Brock Bowers early on, and they gave him some high praise. So let me go ahead and put this up so we can get a chance to listen to this real quick, and then we'll react to it. Let's see here. So here we go.
About this Brock Bowers, I keep seeing how amazing he is out there. He had another big week helping you out, 9 grabs, 98 yards. I would love to hear from both of you, Davante, and just you just don't see that from rookies in this league.
Well, I don't ever like to put any expectation on a young player, but I mean the type of kid that he is. I mean, he literally only cares about football, and he shows some promise of looking like this guy that's on the screen with us right now. Honestly, I don't want to do that to him or downplay what he's done, because he's one of the best to ever do it, and I totally mean that. But this young player is on a different level for a rookie, and I think Baltimore got a chance to feel that a little bit.
I agree with that, Davante. I mean, Brock Bowers, I was a big fan of him when he was with Georgia. The guy's a winner. The guy's a playmaker. Whenever the ball's thrown to him, I love his explosiveness after the catch. And I feel like he's on track, to be better than myself. I mean, I don't think he can, dominate in the trenches the way I dominated in the trenches, but just overall as a pass-catching tight end, I think he can surpass me in many situations. I mean, he already has 15 catches, the most by any rookie of all time in their first 2 games as a tight end. So shout out to Brock Bowers. I'm a big fan. I can't wait to, continue watching him.
Yeah, man. There you have it, man. So, Smoke, what's your first reaction when you heard that clip and you hear like Davante Adams obviously giving him high praise? It's his teammate, but he's seeing how he works and how he approaches the game. And Davante Adams, when he's he's throwing compliments, you got to respect it because he's an elite player at his position, so he knows what it looks like. And then you got an all-time great from Gronkowski. What were your first thoughts, man, when you hear them talk about Brock Bowers?
Man, it just goes to show you, like, coming out of Georgia, man, he's the hype is real, man. Like, the hype is real. He was one of the best tight ends, if not the best tight end in history in college football. So I mean, it's very rare that you get this much hype around a player and they live up to it. So far through 2 games, he's really shown, what we all thought he could be. He could be a guy that you can move around in the slot and motion, line him up outside. I mean, he's just versatile, and yeah, man, it's high praise, especially coming from Devontae. He doesn't really, for him to say that, it's a big deal. And the sky's the limit, man. The sky's the limit.
Facts. I mean, Severe, like, what did you get out of Davante and Gronkowski kind of speaking highly of Brock Bowers? Do you think that they're just being, sometimes when you hear some of these guys talk on some of these shows, podcasts, they're going through the motions, just another game. But when a guy says, I think he could be better than me, that says a lot, man. What did you think of Gronkowski comments as well as Davante?
I don't think anything that Devontae was saying was like that. I don't think that was Devontae blowing smoke or Devontae, like trying to make for good TV. I think Devontae, he's with the guy every day. He's been complimentary of him like this entire time. So I don't think anything he's saying is disingenuous. I think some of what Rob Gronkowski was saying, because he kind of changed his answer. He was like, "Oh, I think he'd be better than me." And then he's like, "Oh, he's never gonna be me in the trenches." But then he said, as a pass catcher in certain situations, like he put that caveat in there. But that's still, but that, even with that being said, right? Even him saying, just first off, he's like, "I think he can surpass me." Like, that's high praise, like, in and of itself. Because for in my opinion, Rob Gronkowski is the best tight end of all time. Just for what he did as a receiver and what he did as a blocker, I think he's the best to ever do it. In my opinion, right now, I think George Kittle is the best tight end in the NFL. Kelsey gets all the recognition because what he does in the pass game, but what George Kittle does as not only a blocker but as a receiver, I think I feel he's a better all-around tight end than Travis Kelsey or Njoku or some of these other guys. Blocking isn't a stat that's on the stat sheet. So people look at stats and look at numbers like, "Oh, look at this guy, look at these stats." But, they don't actually watch the game. So that's why, Rob Gronkowski, he'll never get the recognition he deserves, because they'll look at his receiving numbers were crazy, but they don't see, the impact he made as a blocker and in the run game. Same thing with George Kittle, right? They don't see the impact they make as a blocker. And Brock, is different than even like some of the better receiving tight ends in the league, like a Kyle Pitts or Travis Kelsey or Isaiah Likely, because Brock is a very willing blocker. Not the best blocker yet, but most of the battle as a blocker is just physicality and effort. And Brock, he comes with those in spades. So he'll always be an effective blocker. He might not be George Kittle, Rob Gronkowski level, but he'll be effective in that area, which is more than you can say from a lot of receiving threats. So if you combine that with his ability as a pass catcher, I think he has the potential to be a very, very good tight end for a very long time.
Yeah, man, I agree. But I took what Gronkowski said, and I thought that resonated with me even more than Davante, because Davante's obviously his teammate, so he's going to big him up. He even made a comment about during a presser where he was like, "Hey, I'm not going to talk about his weakness because I know you guys are going to try to," because obviously he's going to talk about how good he is, but he made a comment saying, "I'm not going to talk about the things that he's not good at because I know you guys are going to try to."
That's what they did to me. As soon as I say he's not good at something, "Oh, see Severe? Look, like they don't change his weaknesses." Severe said this. Severe, you see Severe? Look at all these yards he has. Like, his weaknesses are still his weaknesses. Just because he's effective despite them doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but I think what resonated with me was Gronkowski, was because the fact that he was able to admit that someone could be better than him. First of all, his ego he's checking his ego as a player, but he was being extremely honest. So you took it as like, oh, he didn't say that he was going to be better than him in all areas, but I took it as like he's looking at Brock Bowers, he's looking at himself honestly. He's like, I'm a better blocker, but damn, as a pass catcher, I think this guy could be way better. Not in just certain situations. He didn't say certain. He said in many situations. So he's giving him props and saying that this guy can be a better player as a receiver. But he was being honest, like as a blocker, like he's gonna big up himself. He's like, nah, I don't think he's gonna be a better blocker than me. But as a receiver, I think he can definitely surpass me. And that says a lot coming from an all-time great at that position, future Hall of Famer.
The best, in my opinion.
You could say the best at that position. So that says a lot. You know what I mean? For him to say that. And obviously Devontae, he had a lot of good things to say as well. But I think when Gronkowski, the guy that played the position, says what he said, and the way he said it, it was very honest. I didn't look at it as like, oh, he was taking shots or anything like that. He admitted, hey, he's not gonna be better than me at this, but also I feel like his skill set when it comes as a pass catcher, I think he could be better than me. And I'm like, damn, like early on, like first two games in, and he's just saying that. Whew.
I mean, when you set the record, I mean, like it's not what you can say. Like right. I broke the record. Like you really can't say too much other than that.
Yeah. He was throwing numbers around too. It wasn't like he was like, oh yeah, he's gonna be better than me. And he was a good player, blah blah. But he was throwing like, hey, he's got this many catches, 15 catches, and he was. So he did his homework. He knows.
Yeah. And the thing is too, it's like I don't think it's hit us. Because the reason why is because I don't think the offense has been hitting on all cylinders. We're 1-1 offensively. We got to get some things on track. Offensive line has to play better, but like it hasn't hit us. Like, damn, like Brock Bowers is that dude. Like he is playing well, and it really showed, especially on the road against the Ravens in the second half, where 82 of his 98 yards came in. We're like, oh man, like this dude is legit. Like when it counted, he was making plays. Along with Devontae, obviously he led the way in the fourth quarter. But like, whew, man, we got a tight end and a guy that I thought was gonna be a player at a factor at that position. He's not really making too much noise, and that's Michael Mayer.
I was about to say, what I really want to know is how does Michael Mayer feel about all this?
Yeah, I mean, Baby Gronk. Remember, he was known as Baby Gronk. I guess I don't know if he. Yeah.
I mean, getting drafted in the first round and then having Brock come in and steal the spotlight like that. I mean,
well, he was drafted in his sixth round. I'm not sixth round. Second round.
Second round. Yeah, my bad. Second round.
Yeah, second round. But yeah, you make a good point, man. I think that especially the offseason, I think I believe, is he one of the captains?
One of the captains.
I think he's one of the captains. So it's not like he's respecting that locker room. I felt like his offseason, the way he was talking, he just seemed like a new player. He seemed pretty confident. So he has a lot of respect on that team. It's just that he's just right now, it's the Devontae and Brock Bowers show. Like even Jacoby Myers, he's making catches here and there, but like, it's not a lot of targets going around right now. And I think right now Bowers, they're not really guarding him. I think Severe, you made a comment about how like, man, he's running open. Like the teams are not really accounting for him. So, and eventually teams are gonna be like, you know what, we gotta account for this guy because he's
not eventually. Like on Sunday, on Sunday, like they better do something, or Brock is gonna put up another. Like he might go for over 100 if they don't account for him this Sunday. So they've watched the tape. Maybe the Ravens were like, hey, it's a one game thing. Let's see if he'll do it again. And then he not only did he do it again, but he did it better. So now teams are gonna say, all right, you know what, we about to shut this down, or we're about to try to shut this down. And even if they try, he's still going to get his, because he's very athletic at that position, and he presents all kind of matchup problems. And the Raiders have done a good job of moving him different places in order to get him these looks. And that was one of the questions I had when he was coming out of Georgia. I said Georgia used him in a very specific way. I said it was like a gimmicky way, but they moved him around. They ran him on certain routes. They did certain things with him to let him get open. And I didn't know if Getsy had that in his bag, but in the first 2 weeks, they've done that. And I think if teams start to try to take him out, they'll just move him somewhere else. They'll just move him in different places. Okay, you guys are you're expecting him to be in the slot or expecting him to be in line. Okay, we're gonna start splitting him out wide now. I see what we can do with this. Or we'll put him out wide and put Devontae inside. How are you guys gonna handle that matchup? They'll start doing stuff like that. So I don't think no team's gonna ever really be able to shut him down. But I think they will start try to limit his effectiveness after a record-breaking performance through 2 weeks.
That kind of leads me to think, Smoke, like, who do you think is going to step up? Because after a game that Davante Adams and Brock Bowers had against the Ravens, I'm assuming that the Panthers are game planning. They're going to try to take away what the Raiders are going to be counting on to do well in this game, and it's probably their passing game with Davante Adams and Brock Bowers. So they're going to take away those options, right? Who do you see stepping up on offense in the pass game outside of the run game?
I think who's due for a breakout game is Trey Tucker, man. I'm telling you, Trey Tucker might pop off this Sunday. With the attention on Devontae and Brock Bowers, they're gonna focus on them too, which opens up a possibility for Jacoby or Trey. But I feel like Trey might have some shots, down the field. And I think he's overdue, because we haven't really heard much about from him the first couple games. So I think he's due for a breakout game on Sunday, man.
Hey, I can see that happening too, because he does have good chemistry with Minshew. So if the Raiders are able to get that run game going, play action, Minshew looking deep, Trey Tucker gets I can see that happening. I mean, Severe, who do you think? Who else on offense do you think could possibly can get it going this Sunday, outside of obviously if they take away Devontae and the run game and Brock Bowers?
Yeah, I think the obvious. Well, if you take away the run game, okay. But say if you because
we know we can all agree that they're going to try to get the run game going. Like we know they're going to try to do that. That's it's kind of obvious.
Yeah, man. I'm expecting Jacoby Myers. I've been on this train. I'm expecting him to have Wednesday. He's gonna have a big game. I don't know. I'm gonna just keep saying it till he does. But I've been expecting him. I've been expecting Jacoby to have a big game all year. And I've been figuring that they've been. The second half against the Ravens, they really didn't bracket Devontae too much. But for the most part, like teams are, they're trying to keep a shell on things when it comes to Devontae. So I've been expecting Jacoby to be kind of the guy that's able to take advantage of that matchup, or the way the defense is playing Devontae. But through 2 weeks, it's been Brock Bowers both weeks. So now maybe if they attempt to take away Brock Bowers, kind of Jacoby will be the guy that is able to benefit from that.
Yeah, I can see that happening. I mean, that's an easy one right there, because he's obviously one of the best players on offense, or our number 2 receiver, I should say. But Trey Tucker is a good one as well, because I know that him and Minshew have chemistry. But hey, look, if the Raiders get that run game going, that play action, becomes a little bit more deadlier. Hey, Michael Mayer, you know what I mean? Maybe he can get it going. Maybe get in the red zone. Maybe get a touchdown. I think Michael Mayer might be able to get some targets this week. I think it's been tough because Bowers, you just can't help but give him the ball, because he's just creating so much separation. He's getting open. He's making plays. Minshew's looking for him on second reaction plays. I thought that one of the best plays from last game against the Ravens was Minshew buying some time and Brock Bowers coming back to the ball, catching it, a contested catch, something that we going into the season we felt like was possibly a weakness for him. But so far so good, man. Bowers has been playing well, but I think
3 for 3. He's 3 for 3 against the Ravens. Three contested catch opportunities, 3 receptions.
Yeah,
9 targets, 9 receptions.
Yeah,
he's got a great feel for the game too.
Yeah,
and on that play, I don't think Minshew looked for him. I think Brock Bowers made himself available.
Yep.
And I think that's the main thing. Like when you're a quarterback in that scramble situation, you're looking for whoever's open. And Brock Bowers had the awareness and the football IQ to, hey, you know what, my QB's in trouble. He's on this side of the field. Let me make myself an available target. Let me move in this direction away from the defender, present an open target, and give him a guy to throw the ball to. And Minshew happened to see him and got the ball there. And then after that, Brock Bowers does what Brock Bowers does, and that's, break a few tackles and get some extra yards after that. So I don't even think it was a situation where, like, hey, Minshew's like, oh, where's Brock at? It's like, hey, Brock is like, yo, I'm about to show you where I'm at. I'm going to get there. And then Minshew delivered, a good enough ball. He kind of led him a little bit away from the defender as well. And then Brock Bowers was able to make a play.
Yeah.
What's crazy is the Ravens knew we had to air it out in the fourth quarter. And I mean, every time I looked up and Bowers was catching the ball, like, he was wide open. I mean, he had space. It wasn't like he was, making plays, making catches with contested catches. He was like, he had a lot of space. And he has a good feel for the game.
Yeah. No, facts, man. So, but look, we know how the league works, man. Like that's why I'm throwing it out there to figure out who's going to be the next guy to step up. But the good thing about the Raiders' offense is that we got some pieces on offense. Like if you take away this option, we can go here. If you take away this guy, we can possibly go here. I think the key to it is we talked about is the offensive line. Hopefully to get their act together this week, going against the Panthers, who obviously are struggling to get to the quarterback and struggling to stop the run. So, and that's another part of it too, is get that run game going. I think that's where it's going to start. And if we can create that identity, but right now, I think, to be honest with you, the Raiders' strength, right? They're better at passing the ball. As of right now, they're better at passing the football than running the football. So obviously, Antonio Pierce, he wants to establish that physical, mentality for this team. But I think the defense can do that. But offensively, we might be able. We gotta like figure it out and be like, you know what? Hey, this is what we're good at. I think it's crazy to say, but especially because we got Minshew at quarterback, and we got for us to be that passing team, we got to expect him to air it out and be accurate and not turn the ball over. So we'll see, man. It's gonna be an interesting game this week. Every game, like you said, Smoke, before, you said never to pencil in wins. So every game is gonna be important and huge. That being said, let's move it along, man. That pretty much wraps up Around the Nation. Let us know, man, what y'all think about the comments by Gronkowski and Davante Adams. The high praise. Just let us know in the chat, man. Let us know. Make sure to leave a comment. Make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We appreciate everybody coming through. So let's move it along, man. This extra point, and we're gonna keep it simple this week. We're gonna keep it simple. We're just gonna talk about one thing this week. One last thing, an extra point that we want to make this week, and it's about a guy from ESPN who's been doing mock drafts left and right every year for I don't know how many years. A guy by the name of Mel Kiper Jr. And everybody's been talking about it, man. Mel Kiper went on a rant on ESPN, and I'm gonna go ahead and play the clip, and let's react to it. Give me just a second here. Let's go ahead and put this on the screen. There you go.
Up from there. Now that we've sort of set the table for exactly what your problem is with it, how would you try and solve it?
Well, I grew up with the best of the National Football League, 60s, 70s, into the 80s. You're talking about deep shots, right? The go route, the 9-route post. You're talking about Terry Bradshaw in a Super Bowl hitting John Stallworth. You see Leroy Irvin diving, right? Just off his finger. There's the receiver. They laid it out there, right? Hit the receiver in stride. 65-yard touchdown. It's a beautiful thing to watch. That's what I want to see brought back to the National Football League. Okay, check down kings, bubble screen sensations, boring football. Game manager, I get it, but I want to see those deep shots. That's what the NFL was built on. I grew up with John Unitas, Fran Tarkington, Ken Stabler, Darryl LaMonica. You talk about quarterbacks, Joe Namath. It was just right. Brett Favre when he was doing what he did. Burt Jones with the Baltimore Colts. You think about those quarterbacks who would throw the ball down the field. I'd say what Bradshaw did with Stallworth and Swan, Roger Staubach. That's what I want to see brought back. Say, well, you can't do that, right? Well, you got a 5-yard rule with the cornerbacks, right? The Mel Blount rule, right? Now with the push thing with Hurts, you got to be a yard back now. So don't tell me you can't have those safeties closer to the line of scrimmage than they are. I was at games where I'm thinking, hey, too high? They're out in outer space. I couldn't even find us. They're playing with 9 guys, right? Where are the other 2? Oh, the other 2, they're so daggone far back, and even though they're part of the damn play. I'm telling you, we got to change this thing, and we got to have, hey, you can warn them. They come up, hey, guys, you got to get up a little bit, right? You're too far back. Warn those safeties, but you got to figure out, competition committee, somebody, Dano, somebody's got to figure out what that depth is, but it's too far back right now. The NFL is being ruined by these too high safeties.
Man. Whew, man, he went on a rant, man. But I mean, that's crazy. If y'all didn't catch that, he pretty much is saying that the NFL should pretty much get rid of too high and outlaw it out the NFL just because he wants to see more big explosive plays happen. What's your first initial reaction, Severe, to this, man?
It's utterly ridiculous, man. Like you can't dictate. Like that'd be like that'd be like saying like, hey, quarterbacks, you can't throw the ball more than 20 yards. Like you throw the ball more than 20 yards, that's like unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Like it's ridiculous, right? You can't dictate to a defense how they're going to defend an offense as long as it's within the parameters of the legal rules, right? And like having guys too far back in the field of play, there's nothing illegal about that. It's not incumbent upon the NFL and the competition committee to make those changes. It's incumbent upon the coaches and the offensive coordinators and the players to figure out a way to either get these guys out of that coverage or to beat that coverage. We don't want to start dictating the teams how they play the game. We want to leave that space open for the creatives, right? For the people who do this for a living, for the people that figure out different schemes and different formations and different ways to defeat these types of coverages. And there's going to be people that figured it out. There are people on the verge of figuring it out as we speak. So I think if we just let it play out naturally, the change will come.
Smoke, man. I mean, what do you think about this? Because you've seen like some of the players on the panel, they're like smirking. It seems like they had their thoughts on it, but they didn't really want to say anything at the moment. Maybe because they don't want to lose that gig that they got going on ESPN. Because Mel Kiper
coming. They don't want to jeopardize that paycheck, man.
Yeah, Mel Kiper's been with the company for a long time, so he might have a little bit of a little bit more sway. Man. Yeah, so he knows some guys with that company. So he probably doesn't want to. They probably didn't want to say anything to jeopardize their whole situation. But Smoke, what did you think of what Mel Kiper had to say, man? Do you think it makes sense to outlaw too high safety just because right now a lot of teams are taking away the big play and they're forcing teams to kind of dink and dunk and run the football?
I think what like Severe said, I think it's just ridiculous. Like, I don't know if he was just trying to get a clicks or views or what, but it makes no sense. You want to throw the ball deep, run the ball. Mm-hmm. Have the defense suck in, and then I mean,
hey yo, I don't know what sport you playing. It's late of football.
It's late. It's a late night.
First of all, yo,
pause.
I set myself up on that one. You know what?
hilarious.
That was just hey, that's a little revenge from when I got me earlier.
Oh man, but yeah, I agree with y'all, man. I
but
think
you know, if you want to throw the ball deep, hey, you know, run the rock. You know what I'm saying? Run the pill. You know, make them stack the box and throw it deep. You know, it's like, come on, man. He's tripping. I don't know what he was talking about.
Yeah, it's bad enough that the NFL is literally geared to like the team scoring, and they made all these rule changes, you know, to protect the player. I mean, to a certain extent, there's that, but I feel like they use that to cover up their true intentions, which is they want the ball to be scored. For the average fan, the casual fan, they want to see points, they want to see explosive plays. I understand that, but at the same time, like, I like a competitive game. I want the offense to actually beat the defense. I want the defense to actually beat the offense. Like, that's the type of game that I want to see. So if you're making these rule adjustments to help favor the offense, it's just like it just takes away from the competition for me. And I think that you know, we talked about this earlier, you know, Severe, like it right now, a lot of teams are running too high. In order to beat that, you got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to dunk your way all the way down and score touchdowns. So it's on NFL teams to do that enough and be successful enough to force teams to bring that safety down to that box, and then you can hit those big plays. And until that happens, you know, that's what it's going to be. And I think that in the past, like, it's you know, and I maybe Severe, you probably could say this better than me. You said it comes in cycles.
Yeah.
Like there was a time where you know, Mahomes was throwing deep left and right, but that was dictated because the defenses were playing a certain type of style, and then they adjusted to that. And you see a lot of these quarterbacks had to remember. Even Mahomes struggled. People were talking about, oh, Mahomes is struggling and this, that, and third. It's because teams adjusted to the style that he was playing. And they were playing, and that's when that too high was introduced. And it's always been a part of the game, but I just feel like they're trying to take away a strength from Andy Reid and that explosive offense with Tyreek Hill, and obviously, you know, the rest is history. But I just think that Mel Kiper, I think he was just, I guess the best way to
Emotional damage. Emotional damage.
He's being emotional, man. I think he was being a fan. He's being emotional, or maybe there might be an agenda. You know, maybe it might be something that the NFL might be trying to, you know, figure out a way, because it'll be really controversial for them to even do that. So maybe have some guys in the media to go push it out and speak that. But that's just my conspiracy theory talking. But hopefully that's not the case. But definitely. This is flag on the play worthy, to be honest with y'all. If y'all watch the 50-50 show, shout out 50-50. This is definitely a flag on the play, but we had to talk about it. We had to talk about it on Extra Point around the Shield. But yeah, I definitely disagree with Mel Kiper's take. It just seemed like he was trying. It was clickbait. It's definitely clickbait.
Yeah, it's definitely clickbait, and I mean, I understand the reasoning behind it, because like, people, they watch football to see scoring. Like, nobody wants to like, oh, that was a great defensive game. Like, you know, like people when people talk about like great games, it's usually like shootouts, usually high scoring games. Hey, you know what, guys are in there slugging, and you know, hey, you know, the whoever has the ball last is going to win, right? But like now it's become a lot of more so defensive battles. The scoring is way down. I think touchdowns like through the first 2 weeks are the lowest they've ever been, or the lowest they've been since like 2006, as well as like completions and passing yards. It's numbers we haven't seen in a couple of decades. From like, you know, like from a game, like, you know, that doesn't really exist anymore, right? And in those 2006 years, like that's where teams were really focused on running the ball a lot more. That's when you saw like guys being drafted in the top 5 at running back. You really don't see that anymore, because the running game has somewhat become devalued. So, and as we talked about earlier, right, it comes in cycles. You know, like right now, the efficiency, they're actually more efficient to run the ball. Efficiency per play, it's higher on run plays than it is on pass plays. And that's because teams have been drafted and constructed and geared to stop the pass. So now it becomes, you have these smaller linebackers, you have these two high safeties. There's a whole bunch of space for you to run the ball. But it's going to come a time where teams start to adjust to that. Okay, it's like, know what? Let's start getting some bigger bodies on the field so we can defend the run, and then it's going to become more efficient to pass. So it comes in waves, but it's incumbent upon the people within the league who operate within those parameters to make those adjustments themselves and not have those adjustments be dictated to them by the NFL. That's when you kind of take away the creativity of what the game is and what it should be. And I don't think that's what anybody wants.
Yeah, man. I think Mel Kiper, like I said, he's been around the game long enough to know that this is how it works. This is how it comes in. Things like this comes in waves. The league will adjust, and then things will just end up repeating itself. So that big play that he's talking about, it's going to come. It's just the league needs to catch up to what the defense are doing, and that's why teams like San Francisco are successful. Like, they're running the football, they're taking advantage of how the defenses are playing, and hopefully the Raiders can get the run game going this week, and we can have these teams respect the run game, because we definitely have the pieces on offense to get it going. But definitely Mel Kiper, man, we had to talk about this on Extra Point. We couldn't wait for flag on a play, man, because that was a terrible take. But I want to throw this question. We talked about this behind the scene, but I want to ask y'all, everybody in the chat, man, see how y'all feel about this. Does this say a lot about, like, the fact that the defense's success right now, this too high defense, and how it's being successful against a lot of these teams? Smoke, I don't know if you're there. Are you with us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but we can't see you on camera.
Hey, hold on one second.
Yeah, it's all good. But do you think it has something to do with the quarterback play? We've heard, Tom Brady talk about the quarterback play and how it's taught nowadays. He feels like the fundamentals is not emphasized, or he feels like a lot of quarterbacks, they're coming in playing right away when they should be developing and staying in college a little bit longer, or at least probably play that backup role until they really develop parts of their game, but they're playing right away. And that's in today's NFL, like, if you're drafted in the first round, you're pretty much damn near going to start. There's exceptions to the rule. I think Jordan Love had an opportunity to develop behind Aaron Rodgers, and you kind of see you see how it's been successful for him, because now look at him. He looks like he's one of the best young quarterbacks. Then you look at, right now, Drake May, he's behind Jacoby Brissett, so it's probably going to be a matter of time. But they're easing him in before they throw him out there and play him. Do you think the quarterback position is as strong as it was before? Like back in the early 2000s, let's say early 2000s, with the Tom Brady's and Peyton Mannings and Drew Brees?
Is that for me? Is that for Smoke, or for anybody?
Severe.
Yeah, man. People reminisce about like these days, and they remember, oh, like, man, back then we had Tom Brady and we had Peyton Manning, and but for every Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, there's a Marcus Tuiasosopo or Andrew Walter or Aaron Brooks or all these other bums that were bums, right? Like, when you think about the past, you only remember the good players. Know why? Because they were good. So that's why you remember them. You don't remember the 15 other trash quarterbacks that weren't any good, who couldn't throw deep, who couldn't go through their progressions, who couldn't throw with anticipation. Like, remember, there was a time in the NFL where, like, back shoulder throws, like, that's a new thing. Like, wow, did you see that guy? Like, he was covered over the top. So the quarterback threw the ball behind the defender where his receiver can get it. Like, this is groundbreaking. Like, now that's routine play now, right? Like They talk about like the fundamentals aren't being taught, or like there's not enough time and development. That's like, it's the exact opposite. Football is a year-round sport now for kids. My son is 5 years old. They practice 4 days a week and play a game. They practice 4 days a week, have a walkthrough on Friday, and then they play a game on Saturday or Sunday. He's 5. And know what happens in the off season? These kids go to 7-on-7 leagues, and then they're passing all the time. And these other kids, they're with positional specific coaches. They're hiring QB coaches to work with kids that are 6 and 7 years old. So to say that these guys aren't working on fundamentals, that's just trash. They're not playing the game the way they want to see it be played. And that's fine. If you want a certain brand of football, but then know what you sound like? Know what you sound like? You sound like effing Mel Kiper Jr. saying we can't play too high. Shut up, you old man. Like, enjoy the game for what it was, but it's not that way anymore. It's not that way anymore. The game has evolved. And guess what? Soon, people will catch up to the way the game is playing now, and it will have to evolve again. But it's going to be a constant evolution. So don't talk about how you used to do things back then, because that doesn't work in today's NFL. Because if it did, like the type of quarterbacks like a Aiden O'Connell would be a first-round pick, not a backup to a quote-unquote journeyman quarterback. One of the main reasons is because that guy has mobility and can move around.
I don't know, man. I got to push back a little bit because like Tom Brady won a Super Bowl age, 40-something, damn near 40 years old in the play style. I know it's Tom Brady. That's Tom Brady. I get it. I get it. But he played within a play style that you're saying that is old and doesn't work. I think that there might be some truth to the quarterback position being a little simplified because the players can play. A lot of the teams, they rely on the players' athleticism at that position to buy some time and to make some plays off script. I feel like that's kind of been the emphasis with today's quarterback is that off script play. Look at the Russell Wilsons. Look at the Aaron Rodgers. He had that. He had everything. You know what I mean? He could play within structure and he could play obviously off structure, right? But then you got guys like Mahomes, who early on in his career, he was playing backyard football, making crazy throws, but then he was able to develop in that Andy Reid offense. And now I feel like, you know, obviously Mahomes is that gap between him and the next guy is huge as far as that quarterback position. I think it's him and everybody else. But what I was speaking to is when I brought up like the quarterbacks of old was it was pretty competitive. It was like 1 year it'd be Peyton Manning, 1 year it'd be Tom Brady, 1 year Drew Brees, 1 year it's this guy. But I feel like right now maybe it might be a situation where, you know, like, you know, the guys like CJ Stroud might change things, you know what I mean, a little bit, because right now he's considered a top 5 quarterback in his second year. You know, I think you got all these media outlets talking about him and being in the top 10, top 5, whatever. Maybe that might change, but he needs some time. I think you got to give some time before you just throw that elite status on him. But I'm just saying, man, I just feel like.
Well, what after a second year, we already said that Brock Bowers is the greatest pass catching Titans of all time. But CJ Stroud after a full season, he can be considered an elite quarterback.
Okay, what makes him an elite? What makes you say that he's an elite quarterback outside of like him? Obviously, he came in as a rookie, first round pick, and be successful. But look at all the other first round rookies. I think that's the main point that a lot of these guys are saying is like, look, these guys need time to develop. They think that they can just come in and just be successful. Look at Caleb Williams struggling. Look at Jaden Daniels. He's adjusting to it. Look at all the other young QBs that's not playing as well as you think, right? Some of the guys that you're mentioning that are playing well, like the Jordan Loves, they had the luxury of playing behind or backing up Aaron Rodgers and staying on the bench and developing that way. I think that's what, you know, guys like Tom Brady are saying. Like, these guys need some time to learn the position. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I was big on Anthony Richardson coming out. You know, I liked his athleticism, but I could see that this guy needs a whole lot of experience, bro. He needs some time. Like, he's still learning that position. He's still getting better at the position because right now he's boom or bust. every week. And I think that's the point I'm trying to make, is the fact that like a lot of these guys, they need time to develop. Guys like C.J. Stroud, he's kind of a one-on-one. Like that doesn't happen. I don't think it happens that often where a guy could come in and be successful like that. Andrew Luck was a guy you probably could point to, but then when was that? It's been some years since we've seen an Andrew Luck. It's been some years. Obviously, C.J. Stroud is now that guy. I mean, that's all I'm saying.
Joe Burrow was that guy. I think Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, respect to him. Yep, Joe Burrow. Yeah, he came in.
His first full year as a starter. That went to the Super Bowl, or maybe
but
his first full year as a starter went to the Super Bowl. So I mean, it's not necessarily these guys. The NFL is a very complicated game, right? And it is also a different game than college. There's certain things like the field is different, where the hash marks are different, how the game is called is different, like how time is in college. Well, now they changed the rule, but before, how time was in college was different. So there's a lot of different factors that go into that. Also, there are just the schemes, the disguises, the speed and the size of the players is completely different. So I don't think it's necessarily guys need time to like learn how to play quarterback. They need time to learn how to adjust to what defenses are doing against them, right? I think that's the main thing. And that's one of my criticisms of Caleb. I said early on, like I've never seen Caleb like really play within structure. That's why I had Caleb behind Jaden Daniels and Michael Penix. People thought I was crazy. Who's having a better season so far? I think Jaden Daniels, even though Caleb has a win, I think Jaden Daniels has played better than Caleb Williams. You know, Michael Penix was so good that Atlanta said, we're shutting you down after one preseason game because we like, what we seen enough to not even need you to develop anymore in preseason. Like that's how good he was.
Yeah.
You don't think a lot of times it's like you think like a lot of these quarterbacks, these young quarterbacks, they're growing up, they could get away with a lot of their athleticism, and they know they can, they could just off the sheer athleticism they can just ball out. But then when they get to the league, it's like you got all these guys are athletic. You know what I mean? All these guys can hang. So I think also on top of that, being a rookie and like Severe, like you said, being adjusting to the NFL game is way different. And so getting everything thrown at you, it's like I can see why a lot of these quarterbacks are struggling. They need some time to get acclimated and develop.
Right, and learn the position. I think they're still learning the position. I'm not saying that they can't learn it. I'm not saying that they don't have any skills. I'm sure like when they get to the NFL, they're probably seeing some defenses they never seen before. They're as well as the speed of the game, as well as like dealing with guys who are just as strong and big. Like they're dealing with all types of stuff. So I get that 100%, but I think that there is some truth to like, hey, some of these guys are coming in and they're getting thrown in the fire and not given a chance to develop. Look at a Bryce Young. I'm not gonna lie, like he's going into a situation which is an extreme situation, like where his head coach gets fired, he has different play callers, this, that, and the third. But he's day one, they want him to be a starter right away and come in and contribute. And you guys mentioned all these things that can affect a young quarterback. On top of like these defenses are trying to take away the big play. Maybe they're accustomed doing in the college. They're able to get away with that. But now teams are like, hey, no, you're going to have to take the long way to score this touchdown. And in doing that, you're going to have to over and over again, you're going to have to know exactly what they're doing on defense. You're going to have to read the coverage. You're going to have to make sure. And hopefully they'll have the luxury of having a good center who'll call the protections. If there are, and if they're going to be the ones calling protections, then that's another thing on their plate. So it's like it's a lot of things going against the young quarterback, and I think that what Brady and all these guys are saying, they're basically saying like, hey, they need time. He was able to stay in college for at least 2-3 years, and it's kind of the same argument that like they do in basketball too, as well. Like a lot of the guys, they're saying like, and I don't know if you guys watch basketball. Like I know Severe, Smoke. I know you probably follow along, but I don't know people that's watching the show. If you like a lot of the former players, when they talk about the game, like they're talking about like a lot of these guys, they don't have a lot of fundamentals. What made Jordan so great was the fact that he was so athletic. He was a supreme athlete, but he was fundamentally sound. Like he had his hand.
Footwork was crazy. Yeah.
Footwork, defensively, just everything about the game, he was sound. But that because how many years did he play in college? He played all 4 years in North Carolina? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, look, I think there's some truth to what they're saying. I don't think it's like, oh, back in my day. There's some truth, bro. That's what you trying to make it seem like you trying to make it seem like
a lot of it is back in my day. A lot of it is back in my day. You know, back these guys, you know, they're not playing it's not playing the position the way it should be played. They're not, you know, and that game, that's not necessarily the game anymore. That's the game has changed. We talk about Tom Brady. He won his last Super Bowl. Who did he win that Super Bowl with? Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians runs a very modern style of football. It wasn't the same, three yards in a cloud of dust type of offense. It was no risk it, no biscuit. We're going to put this ball in the air. We're going to throw it all around the yard, and we're going to give you some elite weapons to throw to. He had probably the best group of skill positions in the league. He had Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown, and Rob Gronkowski. Like, he had an elite group of weapons. So it's not like he's playing some old school style of football. He was playing modern football paired with one of the best defenses, in the league. So that's how he was able to win that particular Super Bowl. So no facts. And I think that's true for any quarterback that's successful and plays at a high level. Like, you look at even the Peyton Manning teams, bro, like Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Dallas Clark, Edgerrin James, even early on, if you want to take it a little bit early on in his career, he played with Marshall Faulk early on, but then that was really early. That's like his rookie year.
It was a little bit. Pierre Garçon,
that's when Peyton Manning he was able to take his lumps as a rookie. He threw 28 interceptions, but guess what? He was named instantly the starter, took his lumps, and he was better for it. Some people develop better that way. Some people develop better another way. But that's not to say that the position has been degraded. You just have to understand the type of player you're dealing with. There are people that learn differently. There are some people that learn through doing. There are some people that want to watch and observe. There are some people that need to watch, observe, and then do it themselves. Like, there are different type of learners. So it just depends on the person you're dealing with. So, like, I think Malik Willis sat, right? Didn't Malik Willis sit behind Ryan Tannehill? And everybody in Tennessee was calling for Malik Willis to play. And then what happened? Malik Willis played and he was trash. So, he was a guy that, and what was the saying? Oh, well, he didn't play a lot in college. What was the knock against Anthony Richardson? Oh, well, he didn't play a lot in college. So that's why it was incumbent upon him to play in the NFL, because when you want to learn something, a lot of times it's time on task. It's not time in class.
Yeah, but also too, what a lot of these offensive coordinators nowadays are doing, they're playing to the skill set of the quarterback. Yeah, like that's what I feel like that's what they do a better job of than the previous OCs, because I feel like they believe in their system. This is how you're gonna have to do it. You're gonna have to play. You're gonna have to win win within the pocket. I think nowadays, they're more accepting of like their athleticism. They're gonna try to utilize that. Perfect example, I remember Kyle Shanahan, Washington Redskins, RG3. I remember that year, like, he blew the NFL by storm as far as like the type of offense that he was running, that read option. Same thing with San Francisco, Colin Kaepernick. You know what I mean? I felt like there was a year or two where the league couldn't figure out that offense. Like Kaepernick, I felt like was getting damn near 100 yards every game rushing the football. If y'all remember that Packers game in the playoffs, like that was, I think, the most rushing yards given up by the Packers, or
almost 200
or probably most in the NFL, like all time. Was it by QB in the playoffs? Was that the most rushing yards?
Might be most rushing yards by QB ever, but for sure in the playoffs though.
What did Kaepernick have? That's a nice little question for the chat, man. Let us know in the chat, man. Like,
I want to say it was 196. I don't recall though. I want to say 196, but I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at that real quick, man. That's actually a good one. But look, hey, at the end of the day, man, look, we need one of them athletic quarterbacks, man. We're being honest.
No, we don't. Right, we need a pocket. We need a pocket passer that's gonna. We need a pocket passer that's gonna sit back and
we need both.
Gonna just go through his progressions, and
CJ Stroud would have been nice. CJ Stroud would have been nice.
Stroud,
You know what I mean?
And CJ Stroud is a guy that can do a little bit of both. He's a little closer to the pocket quarterback, but and guess what? Since he was a guy that was closer to being a pocket quarterback, that dropped his draft stock a little bit. But he's a guy that in that Georgia game he showed, and one of the reasons why he was able to be so effective against that Georgia team was because he was able to get outside the pocket and make those second reaction plays. And like perfect example, we just talked about it. One of the biggest plays that we made on Sunday against the Ravens, a potentially game-changing play, was Gardner Minshew escaping out of the pocket. Brock Bowers having the awareness to work back to his quarterback, and Gardner Minshew hitting him like that. That's a mobile quarterback, and that's where the league has gone.
So Kaepernick ran for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns.
181. Okay.
181 yards in the playoffs. So that was just an example of like literally like that read option. I felt like, hey, like you said, NFL comes in cycles, and at that time, like, the league didn't know how to remember the couple of years or at least the year where the teams didn't know how to stop Wildcat. You know what I'm saying? So things like that happen all the time.
But that's my point. That like the league didn't you got to stop running the Wildcat. And like people just figured out how to stop it, or they're like, or if you're gonna do this, like we're we're going to adjust to it. Or when teams a lot of teams are doing the read option stuff with quarterbacks, and what they start doing, just hitting the quarterback. Like, okay, every time you do this, we're gonna hit your quarterback. We're gonna see if you really want to if you run. And so then teams stop really doing that, and they start doing more RPO stuff. That's how offenses adjusted to that. I was like, all right, we don't want to put our quarterback in quite as much danger, so now we're gonna let him make this read behind the line of scrimmage where he's more protected and not really out in space as much. So. I think it's just incumbent upon the league incumbent upon the people within the league to make those changes. But like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with the quarterback play. We have possibly who some people think is the best quarterback of all time playing. And two guys. Some people say Aaron. If you ask Devontae, he'll say Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback of all time. There are a lot of people saying that Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback they've ever seen, and he will go down at the end of his career as the greatest. So. When you have guys like that in the league, like, of course, when you have potentially the best or the most talented player at that position ever, it's only natural that there's going to be a clear line of delineation between him and everybody else.
So Kaepernick still holds that record, most yards by a quarterback in a playoff game with 181 yards against the Packers, but. Real quick trivia question: who has the most rushing yards by QB in the playoffs overall?
Well, not a playoff, in a regular season game.
No, not in a actual game. Just in totality, the playoffs. Who holds that title of the most rushing yards in the playoffs?
Oh, and throughout all of the playoffs.
Yeah, like throughout their career, not just not in just one. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna go Steve Young.
Ooh,
smoke.
Mike Vick.
Hold on, I gotta dramatize this real quick. All right, it's Steve Young. He got 594 yards. But who's number 2?
Mike.
Number 2. Now I'll probably John Elway.
Now Russell Wilson.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. He's been to the playoffs a bunch too. Yeah, that makes sense.
So Steve Young, he rushed for 594 yards total, most rushing yards by a QB in the playoffs, and then Russell Wilson is like 527. So yeah, and I didn't even know this. Josh Allen's number 3.
Oh damn, that's crazy.
Okay. Yeah, Josh Allen. If he keeps going to the playoffs, like he might surpass this easy. No, that's good. Easy, but yeah, man. Hey, it's been a great show. We appreciate everybody coming through. We just wanted to come through and have a conversation. We appreciate Writer Smoke coming through. Special guest this week. We know Mike is on the road this week, but hey, Smoke was able to come through and chop it up with us and talk about the Raiders versus Panthers and all that good stuff, man. But Smoke, man, let the people know where they can find you, what to look forward to, all that good stuff.
You guys can find me on YouTube, man. Raider Smoke 89.
There you
And
go.
on Instagram also, man, Raiders Smoke 89.
There you go. Simple as that, man. It's so simple. You see it on the screen. Raiders Smoke 89. Make sure to click in, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. You'll see this on all our channels. Make sure to hit that like button, man. We appreciate the support. Severe, let the people know where they can find you and what to look forward to.
Man, you know, it's the Severe Raider, YouTube, X, IG, Snapchat, TikTok, all of that stuff. Can't find me here every Friday night, you know, with the Around the Shield, every Tuesday night with the 50-50 show. Working on some stuff with my guy, Chris, my guy, Real Talk. Got some stuff I'm working on, my own stuff as well. I'm probably going to drop some film as well because there's a whole lot of narratives out there that people have in their heads, and then the film don't back up these narratives. There's a certain person, you know, who, hey, he gave me, I'm not going to say no names, but he gave me an apology later on. So, you know, shout out to my guy. But yeah, man, just want to let everybody know this entire year, the mission is clear. So if Farrah knows what the mission is.
So who are you picking this week, Severe? Are you picking the Raiders to win this game?
I'm picking the Panthers.
You picking the Panthers? Okay.
I'm picking the Panthers. And I'm wearing the same hat. You know, I'm picking the Panthers. No red hat. I'll wear this hat when I pick the Ravens. I'm wearing this hat to pick the Panthers. The mission is clear.
See. So some people are going to be shocked by this because they don't understand the insight on this. So Severe picked against the Raiders last week, and the Raiders won. And I obviously picked the Raiders to win, and they won. So he's going to continue this so the Raiders can win. He is sacrificing his reputation as a Raider fan, so the Raiders can win. But real quick, we're not going to let Severe guess the score. He's already doing his job, you know, perfectly, masterfully. But Smoke, score this week.
28-13.
28-13. Oh, man, let me see. Score this week, I'll say, you know what, 35-17. 35-17. I think the offense, if we get that run game going,
it's going to light it up.
Hey, man. Hey, look, I'm an optimist, but at the same time, like, I'm looking at this Panthers team, and they're pretty disgusting. But, you know, hopefully I could also see it being not a close game, but I could see the team being energized and being competitive just because, you know, the quarterback play might improve with this team. But we'll see, man. But obviously, at the end of the day, we picked the Raiders to win. Severe, he's a man on a mission right now. He's doing it masterfully, man. That's all I want to say. But as for myself, Pharaoh NFL, man, y'all can find me all over social media, obviously IG, but also follow Around the Shield on social media, on X and IG, where you can get up-to-date Raider news, all that good stuff. And we're going to be posting clips on there. So if y'all want to see clips of the show, things like that, everything that we got going on, make sure to go to Around the Shield on IG as well as X. And we do this every Friday. We drop an episode, or sometimes every now and then we go live on Fridays. But we drop it. Just expect us to drop Around the Shield every Friday. And the next time that you'll see me and Severe will be 50-50 show on every Tuesday evening, night. And Smoke, man, my guy Smoke, man, appreciate you coming through. And hey, man, maybe this week we might do a post game. We'll see, man. I'm gonna hit you up,
Yes,
man.
sir.
See where you're at with that.
Good, man. That was y'all did your thing on that post game, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But hey, any last thoughts, man, before we get out of here?
Nah, man. I am expecting the Raiders to invest heavily into the run early and often. Antonio Pierce said ideally he gets Zamir White at least 20 touches. I think he maybe had like 9 rushes at this past game or something like that, and a couple catches. So he basically doubled his output. So I look for Zamir White to possibly have a breakout game.
Yeah, man. Look, if anybody's questioning, you know, Severe's fandom for the team, man, his support of the team, man, he's been a Raider fan. You know, he's been a Raider fan all his life, man.
To this day. To this day.
All right, y'all. We out.
Just win, baby.
Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.